short time ago, I spoke with a member of the Israeli War Cabinet and former Israeli ambassador to the United States, Ron Dermer. Ambassador, nice to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, Greta.
Ambassador, I would prefer that President Biden were here to answer this question, the State Department, but I'm curious about your reaction. The United States issued condolences from the State Department for the butcher of Tehran, who financed Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, best friends with Soleimani, who killed American servicemen. And I understand the delicacy of diplomacy, but I wish they could explain to me, but I'm curious as to your reaction to that.
Well, Greta, you'll have to get President Biden on the show and you can ask him. I would offer condolences to the Iranian people who have been brutalized by this regime for the last 50 years, that subjugates its own people, that spreads terror throughout the region and around the world. They're also responsible for many, many attacks, as you know, against Americans. They came to power taking over a U.S. embassy and holding American hostages. They have bombed through their proxies American embassies. They used Hezbollah to kill Marines in Beirut. So they've done awful things both inside Iran and outside Iran. And again, my condolences go to the American people, the Iranian people who continue to suffer for almost a half century against this regime. And I hope one day they'll be free, because when they're free, we're going to have a good relationship with Iran. America's going to have a good relationship with Iran, and the Middle East will be a much safer and more peaceful place.
Do you expect to be free? I mean, the butcher of Tehran, Raisi, I mean, there are anywhere from 2,500 to 30,000 public executions in the 1980s. The Iranian people have protested. We thought in 2009 there might be a change. There have been recent protests recently. There's been the money that's been unfrozen by the United States that I think most people had hoped when humanitarian aid would go to the Iranian people, but in my understanding it went to help fund Hezbollah and others. So, but do you realistically expect that there'll be any change with Raisi moving out, Raisi off the stage now, and a replacement?
Definitely believe this regime will go down history's dustbin because the Iranian people can't stand it. I think that's been clear for some time. As you mentioned, they came out to protest in 2009. There were mass protests in Iran in 2022, but they got very little support from the outside world. I think the right policy for the free world is to see the Iranian people as their partners and to have a policy. On one hand, you have a credible military threat against a potential breakout of Iran to nuclear weapons, to put crippling sanctions on that regime. But the third leg of that policy, in addition to the economic pressure and a credible military threat against a nuclear breakout, is to actually turn the Iranian people into your allies and partners and friends. Reach out to them, embrace the dissidents of Iran, embrace the women of Iran, embrace all of the people who are fighting for human rights and dignity in Iran. That's not the regime. And again, my condolences to the people of Iran for their continued suffering under this regime. I don't believe that Raisi himself, he's the president. He's not the supreme leader of Iran. And as you know, Greta, you don't get called the supreme leader for nothing. They rule that country with an iron fist, but they don't have the support of their people. 70–80% of the people are against it. And ultimately, those regimes go down.
Well, if they're going to, but the support that the Iranian people, I won't belabor this too much further, but the support that the American people might get from the outside world is a little bit confused when the outside world is sending condolences for the country for one of the most wicked people to be killed. But I'll leave it at that. Let me turn now to the
I agree with that, but just remember to get some hope. You know, what Reagan did during the Cold War is at the same time stand very firm against the Soviet Union, but understand that the dissidents behind that Iron Curtain, they were actually his allies and partners, and that's why you were able to win that war without firing a shot and without having a World War III. I think it's a very strong stance outside, but understanding that the people of Iran are your allies and give them that moral support. It's very important for the free world to give them that moral support. So I think anyone who sends condolences to them, to the regime, I don't think that that's the right message at this time. I understand, as you do, that you have diplomacy, but really should increase the efforts to reach out directly to the Iranian people who have been subjugated by this regime and would like a completely different future, a future of freedom and a future of peace.